Welcome to the Will Studios. I'm Will, and I'm going to be the king of comic books. But there's going to be some hurdles. There's going to be some challenges along the way, and I just got done changing some of the technical things. Jesus Christ, dude. Can I gotta change that again. Just move my headphones a little bit. Anyway, I changed it so that I can hear myself talk through my headphones. Let me turn that shit down. Maybe that's all it is. Jesus. I could hear my own voice ringing out through my fucking head. I just got done streaming for 30 minutes muted, or my audio output was configured in a strange way. If I go back and listen to this video and I'm echoey, I'm going to be pissed. Big news for the Will Studios. I took a big step and put out a preview, a glimpse of the first comic book we're creating over here, Release. And I think it went well overall. I got some good feedback. Some things were positive. Nobody said that the artwork looked shitty or anything like that. But I'm going to redo everything. So the cover, got to fix some foreshortening. Got to do a more detailed, better background. They like the robot hand. So I went to Baltimore Comic-Con for two reasons. One is my family lives in Northern Virginia. I live in Ohio. And it takes forever for us to get together. And so they've been wanting me to come out. I got a new baby. I brought the baby. People saw the baby. So I knocked that out on that trip. I took 10 days. And I chose those dates because I wanted to go to Baltimore Comic-Con. And I wanted to give myself a freaking hard deadline. For myself. Because I never give myself those. It's always soft deadlines. It's always, I'll finish something by this time or whatever. And then it doesn't come together. And I forgive myself and I move on and I keep working. So Baltimore Comic-Con was the hard deadline. I have to have a preview for the comic book. I want to show people, and there's going to be some comics gators there. These people are doing what I want. They're living the life I want, where we're making money making comic books, making our own IP, selling to our audience, doing our own marketing, and saving the comic book industry. Because it really sucks. Like, if DC and Marvel could do more to freshen up their IP and be more willing to bring in people that have new ideas, in Japan, you have every 5 or 6 years you got some real strong, good new content. New worlds for people to get lost in, and they're not just retreading the same stuff over and over and over again. You can go back and read the best Superman stories, okay? They've been written. I don't think you're going to write a better one, or if you do write a better one, then you should produce it. If you don't have an idea for like the best fucking Superman story ever, just fuck it. What? Come up with something new. Make a Superman derivative, whatever. Like freaking... Anyway. But I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part creating new shit and trying to get it out there. This was a big step. Release is going to be the first comic book produced at the Will Studios. This is the first thing I ever colored. Really, or the most complete colored thing I have ever produced digitally. This cover, and I still like it. Looking at it, I still like it. And people told me my anatomy was good, which is awesome. Like, they even zoomed in on my hero and looked at how I, did that. And I think they really liked it. When I say they, I mean, like, God damn it, what the fuck? What is happening? Imgur sucks, man. I used Imgur because it was easy, because it was just there. I need my own website. I have the willstudios.com. I just need to build it. I just need to build it, and that'll be where I host these pages. And it'll be much, much easier. So, the first 2 pages are going to stay more or less the same. I'm going to redo all the shading. And the line work. Because I could redesign a robot mouth. The second page is going to be more or less exactly the same. I'm going to be redoing the artwork because I need it all to be consistent. And there's going to be way less grays. It's going to be more black and white in the final product. Now, everything else is going to change. Release takes place 30 years in the future. And I wanted to introduce some of the technology by having the very next scene, we would be inside a virtual podcast, right? So you're sitting at the table with Joe Rogan and his guest or whatever, but this is like Jack Hogan or whatever I decide to name him, and Stephen Crazy Wald or whatever I decide to name him later, because I'll have them pop up later. These are, they're influencers. They're around. I'll use consistent public figures in the world to convey messaging to the audience in a way that's fun and interactive, not out of place. So the podcast gets interrupted by this little sprite, which a buddy of mine really liked her. Good. That's the point. I wanted Hayden to... I wanted it to be kind of obvious that you can customize your sprite. This is what Hayden created. So she's got like spiky legs or whatever. I might change the spiky legs. Or not. I don't know. I think I could make them work. I'll update them. So they have a back and forth over her forcing him to participate in the system, right? And you can kind of see why the conversation between the two people happened. One guy was very optimistic about the world. He's talking about the robots that we got patrolling around. I wanted this to be an info dump. So in 2 paragraphs, we got 2 super androids flying around cleaning up. So the reader's supposed to take, okay, in this world there are 2 super androids. Anyway. This guy's talking about how freaking pointless life is. And people are participating in college programs well into their 40s for a living stipend. So that sets up the logic for why this Siri sprite is interrupting him and saying, hey, you only have 14 credits so far this month, blah, 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 blah. This dialogue is very clunky. Changing it. But it's not terrible dialogue. It's just clunky. And will be changed. This panel here, where it zooms out to him, putting his, hands over his face, you were supposed to notice that these 2 people do not have bodies, and they are also not proportionate to Hayden. Thus, they are not physically in the space, and it should have been like, oh, he's alone in this room experiencing a podcast. The room is very plain. The room needs personality. It needs detail. Hayden needs to have more than just like a freaking little bookshelf over here, which I knew, but Baltimore was the hard deadline. I needed to put something out even if I knew it wasn't perfect. This sets the bar very low for me. So I got a lot of advice about everything. So chiefly, my biggest thing was the word balloons. I knew they looked terrible. I did not give myself time to really letter. And so I put the words on the page. I chose a font that came with Procreate, and I was trying to put the bubbles around the words, and it looked terrible. And this will be an example of many things where it's like, hey, Will, why did it take you so long to make this fucking comic book? I had to learn a ton of shit. And I had to teach myself how to make a comic book. I'm going to go to Blambot and get the font pack that I can just use in my comic book. And that's going to make lettering much easier. And I need to make the bubble and arrange the letters, which is what I figured out here. Like, these looked terrible before. I was trying to create a brush that I could, like, just go line by line and outline each line of letters at one point. It's like I'm trying to innovate lettering on the fly. And that's not the way to go. That was a very important lesson from this con. Was that lettering takes time and is an art form unto itself. So that is all going to improve. There's going to be less gray throughout. I need it to be black and white. I need contrast. I need more blacks. Heavier blacks. Hayden reluctantly agrees to go to this in-person group. He's reminded to take the bus. We cut to these 3 panels introducing Jessica. I decided her name was going to be Jessica. I was thinking about all kinds of names. I'm the worst at names. But this is where we're at now. Currently, her name is Jessica. She has a little camera on her wrist, on her little bracelet, that she throws into the air, and it hovers around, takes a picture. She does a cute little thing and pushes her boobs together for social media so that she can get likes, because that's what she does for attention. Okay? Like many girls. She converges on this at the bus stop with Hayden and this dude. Now, I'm realizing even more every time I look at this. Everyone's doing this with their fingers, and I thought it would be kind of funny to make it so that nobody could see what they were doing, right? All of them are interacting with virtual panels through their headsets, but they can't see what each other are doing, right? But I do need to go ahead and make it so that the reader can see what they're doing. So, instead of just having everybody doing this, you know what I mean? I need to throw some panels up. Just to make it more visually interesting. And this random dude at the bus stop. So then we introduce Silver. He's being informed by this floating orb that facility was broken into. He's needed to track it down, the drone that done did it. And this got the strongest negative reaction in terms of quality of the lettering. I thought I was doing something clever by making the word balloon basically a page break between panels. But that's dumb, as it turns out. And I need to split this paragraph up to make it more visually less offensive. But this page isn't even going to exist anymore. The robot arrives at the bus stop. We see Jessica getting on the bus, right? This is where it's, it's probably painfully obvious from about this page onward that I did not give myself time to properly shade anything. And I literally just ran through and as quickly as I could from pretty much here on. Which doesn't look terrible. I'm not untalented, but it, Anyway. Robot is on the street. Nobody is reacting to the robot. I wonder why. Well, the robot sits down next to Hayden and these 4 panels, and you're supposed to see why, where Hayden looks over and he sees a dude. Hayden sees a dude. So this robot is hacking shit, okay? And camouflaging himself. So then everyone gets the alert about Silver, and I forgot to put freaking panels around the floaty words in front of everyone's. God fucking damn it! Imgur. In front of everyone's faces. Everybody should have. It should be obvious that everyone is in a virtual world. Silver shows up. I wanted. Because Silver is, there's a company in this world, Pegasus, that is Google and Apple and everything combined. And it's practically more important than the government. And Silver works for this corporation, not for the police, okay? But he assists government whatever. He fights crime. He ends wars, brings peace to the world with his telekinetic abilities. When he arrives on the scene and he needs to investigate an area, all those cars are run by computers that are run by this company. They could just pause traffic. So they do. Traffic will resume shortly. It's there on that bus. That's where it is. I made that he finds it quickly. But he doesn't know what he's dealing with because the camouflage. There's chaos on the bus. Everyone's trying to get a good look at Silver, right? So this establishes that people treat Silver like a celebrity. It's very interesting to see him. You a Red fan or something? Because we mentioned there's 2 super androids. So we meet Silver here, but the other one's name is Red. This is the first mention of that. From the android. It's the one that starts talking. And he starts talking to Hayden. Silver says, everybody off the bus. I'm going to take this bus to the desert and search it there. Because this whatever drone stole that element stopped and hit itself on this bus for some reason. And I wanted Silver to imagine that he's gonna take this bus to the desert and find, a drone-looking drone, and he's gonna find out why it stopped on this bus or whatever. Silver's not afraid of anything. He practically has no danger sense because he's been the most powerful thing on this planet for a while. Him and Red. The only thing he's worried about, and he's not even worried about Red because Red doesn't attack him or anything, but he's not going to get along with Red. You're going to find out in issue 2 how much he dislikes Red. So, Silver gets everyone off the bus, gets on the bus. This is supposed to be... this panel is supposed to be from the perspective, these 2 panels of the robot where he's prepping his hand and then seeing his reflection in Silver's helmet. And then these people are outside the bus. The bus flies up into the air. This could have been done better. The bus explodes. The hero is thrown from the bus, but he grabs the bus with his telekinetic abilities and crushes it around the robot, who bursts out of the bus. And then Silver catches the shrapnel and turns it into a weapon, and they exchange blows, and that's the end of the current publicly available preview for Release. And all of it's going to change. So, here's where we're at now. Okay? I'm going to redraw page 1. But it's going to be pretty much the same. I'm going to get Blambot. I'm going to get better fonts. I'm going to put gutters in the panels. I'm going to make a great comic book here. Alright. Second page. Pretty much exactly the same. I got the most positive reaction I got was from this page, which, you know, everybody likes it. The action flows. It's very obvious. And it's cool. This robot just caused an explosion and is gracefully flying away from it using the explosion to propel him through the sky. I'll add some stars. This is the new third page, which is more or less done. Okay? I'm going to adjust it because I don't like how much of the ceiling you see here in the second panel. So I'm gonna cheat that up a bit and add some stuff to the table in the foreground. And I think that's gonna help this page out a whole lot. Because right now it's like it's good, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it's where it needs to be. And so that's going to be getting rid of a lot of this unnecessary ceiling space and adding clutter to the foreground. Second page. The line work's coming together. So, in the first page, come on. In the first page, I'm hoping it's very obvious that he is touching his headset, and it is projecting 3 channels of AR entertainment. The one in front of him, Monster Fight, okay, which in the series, this is going to be like a competitive esport. Then to his right, he has like his Joe Rogan podcast. To his left, he has his my version of Star Wars, right? My version of space laser weapons, people fighting each other. Like I have this, come on. Fucking around. Come on. I just want to zoom. I just want things to work. Okay? I just want to do things and have it work. Anyway. I have my own version of like Rey Skywalker over here, which is going to be way cooler and more sexy than the actual Rey Skywalker, and will be different enough to not infringe on any copyrights. Fourth page is where he scrolls. In this first panel, he's going to scroll over into this Joe Rogan podcast. And then it's going to be 2 panels of the people talking, saying their piece. And then the third panel is the interruption. And I have changed her hairstyle. Do I like it like this? Time will tell. I might adjust her hairstyle again. before the final product. But this is the new scene where she interrupts him and tells him that he needs to get his act together, right? So I think it's a lot better. I think it's a lot better already. The next page is going to be sort of the finishing of that conversation. He's hunched over his kind of fold out kitchen table that he's got going. He's got a display case behind him with other brand new IPs reminiscent of, existing IPs. He's got sort of a Kamen Rider inspired property in his top display. And then below that, I didn't put it in this panel, but it's like a it's like a medieval, like, I was thinking Soul Calibur meets Berserk sort of thing would be cool. So hey, that's another IP that I got that I just pumped out, and then I got like my own sort of Avatar meets Turok sort of thing below that. So he's a collectible. He's got some collectible statues on display, or maybe maybe nobody owns any physical collectible statues at all. Maybe these are NFTs that are projected into a holographic cube that is stackable. I just invented, man, I'm an idea man. I got great ideas. Amazing ideas. The next scene is going to be Jessica arriving at the bus stop. I've changed the angle so that it's more obvious that they are at a bus stop. I'm changing the focus away from Jessica and into the technology so that it is 10 times more obvious to people what she is doing. She is detaching a small camera drone thing that she can toss off to one side and it'll float around and take a picture of her and return. And then people can view that later. I got the... Fuck. God damn it. Technology's pissing me off today. Then we go to Silver. And there's going to be more movement in the panels here. And that's where I'm at in the page, in the redo pages. So the next step here, I have the new fight scene mapped out in my head. And it's going to be glorious. And I'd start drawing it right now in front of you, except that I'm getting hungrier the more this video goes on. So I'm going to end it soon. But it's going to be at the bus stop is where Silver's going to throw Jessica and Hayden off to the side. Move them aggressively with his telekinesis off to the side and wrap George up in the bench that he's sitting on, because he's sitting on the bench in between these guys, and that's going to be where I explain that George is in camouflage, because Hayden and Jessica are going to see him as a person, and then I will reveal that he is the robot. Then Silver shows up, figures it out almost immediately, wraps him up in the bench, moves the bystanders out of the way, says, Gaia, get these guys out of here, because Gaia's supposed to send them messages that says, hey, leave the area, but he doesn't understand that Gaia is not operational right now because of George, because of the robot. Flies up, he's going to fly up with George, right? George is going to bust out of the bands of metal that have got wrapped around him. And then he's going to come after Silver. Silver's going to grab him. You know, the fight's going to happen. It's going to be a new, different fight, better fight. I think people are really going to like it. This was a really good move for me. And, I'm proud of myself. Let's go ahead and end it here. I'm going to go make myself a sandwich. I'm going to start getting these pages going. I appreciate anyone who is currently paying attention to me. You are on the ground floor of something that's it's gonna become the next big thing. Okay? By becoming the best version of myself, I'm gonna save everybody. In the video that I deleted, because I had no audio, I mentioned that I was sorry for not being around. Okay? Comic books needed me. And life pulled me away from comic books. I didn't come back till I was in my 30s. But here we are. And we're going to make some really cool shit. And everyone is going to love it. Take care. Have a good one. And I hope you like and subscribe. Spread the word. This is only